Wait.
Are we live now? Hey!
It's happening. Hello. You're very welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to the 162nd edition of the Studio Rats live Q&A with Mr. Lee Abrahams here.
Oh, yeah.
And Paul Drew here.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Greg.
Hello, everybody. I'm Greg, occasionally known as Larry North, occasionally known as Adventures in Gearland. You're all very welcome along. I hope you're having a wonderful week.
Can we just say you need to big up your show a little bit more during this as well, because it's got to be oh, there we go. Look at him. He's unbelievable. Look, straight off the bat, he's just trying to get in there
already. He's got merch already.
So I hope everyone's well.
Let's talk this. Because the Studio Rats are officially.
That's a nice hoodie, that, isn't it?
It's a decent hoodie. Yeah, they do good gear. This has lasted for ages. I've had this about 5 years. It's great.
Nice.
I love them. Professors Taylor and Steinhardt, I think they're great. And they are obviously nice people away from what they do on the internet, because they like you as well, Paul and James. On their own Q&A on Monday night, they said how wonderful your video of the new Marshall amplifier was, among other things. It was, to paraphrase, a treasure trove of wonderfulness. You play all the right stuff. Essentially, YouTube royalty has agreed with what we all here that watch you harping on every week have known for a long while. So I've done my little advert for that pedal show, so I'll get rid of that.
Get rid of your t-shirt.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
there's an advert for that pedal show. There's the nice reverb spring thing. I'll stop in a minute. Hang on, right, 1 second. Super duper. There we are.
Have you got that pedal show boxer shorts as well? Or?
Not yet, but I believe they do socks.
Do they?
Yeah.
Look at him. Look. He's glugging the wine out of the. Oh, that's nice. Nice bit of camping tin, that.
Yeah. Nice enamel mug. Again, the reverb spring design. They've thought of everything, those lads, including suggesting that the known internet world come and watch you and Mr. Ivy. So that's good on their behalf, isn't it? Well
their
done.
gear is good, though. I mean, it's their designs that they do on their t-shirts and their gear. It's good stuff. I don't know who does it. I don't know if Mick does it all, but it's really good stuff.
I'm not speaking through fact. I'm just making assumptions that he and Dan probably have wonderful ideas, and then his missus does the actual legwork and makes it come to fruition. I might be
understood
out of turn there, but she seems to be an incredibly astute woman. There we are. Anyway, look,
excellent.
I'll do the first question, and then I'm going to get changed into my own advertising. Lee, musically, what have you been up to this week?
Done a few gigs as usual. Always doing gigs.
What gigs and where?
Oh, Christ, don't ask me that. I can't remember. We do so many gigs.
All right. And I know what we can do. I know what we can ask them. So last week you bought a Universal Audio Dream pedal.
I did, yeah.
Did you use that at the gig?
I did. I used it for one of the sets at one of the gigs, yeah. And it sounded really good.
See, now imagine a couple of baldies in white t-shirts. This isn't.
It's like we thought it through, isn't it?
It's like you've come to take me away or something.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So you use it for one of the sets. Well, that tells you something. Does that tell you something?
Well, kind of. It sounded great. It sounded really good. But I took the GT1 as well. GT1 is like my trusty sort of gig partner, really. Yeah. Only because, if we're doing an outdoor gig and it gets rained on, I'm not going to worry. Or if an indoor gig and it gets half a pint of milk stout dropped on it, I'm not going to worry too much. But it sounded great. It sounded, just as I expected it to sound, really. It sounded nice and beefy and fat through the PA, and it sounded great with the Strymon in front of it. But I just like to do these things, where you sort of use one set one set of gear for one set and then swap over in the break and compare it with another. You know, it's this constant affliction that we have, you know, with trying stuff out.
And what was on the drive back? I don't know how far you had to get to and from gig. What were the post-gig thoughts in kind of reviewing set 1, set 2?
The post-gig thoughts are very similar to what I have quite a lot of the time when I do those kinds of experiments, which is, well, I can't say one sounded better than the other. It just sounded different.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's funny, isn't it, as well? Because I've done that with gigs, and then, you know, you take a new bit of gear along, and then you know, you have a terrible gig, and then you blame it. You don't blame it on the gear, but you know what I mean. You go like, "Oh, I didn't enjoy my sound tonight," but it could just be your mix or whatever, and you just go, "Oh, you know, it's probably the gear," when it could just be the monitor engineer. It could be anything.
Yeah.
What?
So you never actually know whether.
Is there an element of the stuff in the 2nd/3rd set is the rockier stuff that you enjoy more anyway?
No, not really. Not really.
Is it all balls to the wall, non-stop?
Yeah, it's all pretty much the same kind of
music. Your band.
Yeah, I want to be in the band as well.
Not
having to play Bruno Mars and Karen Carpenter in the first.
No.
With Iron Maiden for 2 hours instead.
Yeah, we're not doing any of that kind of stuff. But no, it was great. You know, it sounded great. But again, you know, the GT1 sounds great, and the Tonex sounds great. You know, they all sound great. You know, I just need to settle down. I just need to, in the words of the great John Mitchell, guitarist friend of mine from the prog world, you really need to calm down.
He's got a good prog voice.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Right. Shall we? Oh, actually, no. We're doing what we've got up to this week. What have you done, Greg? Have you done anything?
I mean, you can't tell, can you? I've been tearing my hair out with Studio One. In a good way, in that I've, for the first time, and I referenced this last week, this is the first time the last fortnight where I've really dived into it. And I'm going through the same learning curve that I did with Da Vinci about 4 months ago. And it's great fun, but I'm thinking, oh, well, I could finesse that, and I could just do this, and maybe I'll just start again and do a new layer here, and you know, and I've produced no meaningful work for a long time. However, I've learned a lot. So you know, there's a flip side. I'm taking the positive.
This is video editing stuff, is it?
No, this is it's a DAW. It's
okay.
Sound recording stuff. So I chucked a load of different parts that I made on the Boss ME90 into Studio One 2 and a bit weeks ago, and I've just been mixing and mixing. Have you heard that story about Jimi Hendrix allegedly just mixing for days and days all on the Watchtower? It's just like, yeah, but I want more of that part and I want more of this part. Yeah. And he's just like, right, everybody else go. I'll just carry on. And just
albums are never finished; they're only abandoned.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those, and you know, I've got one song, or it's not even a song; it's just a backing track for people to play over. That's probably not going to be more than 3 minutes by the time I finish tarting around with it. But I've spent hours. It's great fun, but I've achieved nothing tangible yet. There we are. There we go.
And all I can say is that by the time it goes on YouTube, mate, it's all gonna lose all the
fidelity, the quality, compressed.
And the first take that you did was always the best one.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, parts really were just, well, that works. Chuck it down, on you go. So I didn't waste too much time there, but I'm making up for all the non-wasted time in recording parts by now messing around with them. So yeah, I've done a lot of that. I've spent a bit of time with the Gibson 335 that I've got on long-term loan, and I'm beginning to have an existential crisis.
What you like it?
I'm a sucker for a natural-looking instrument anyway, presumably as a result of my string heritage with the old cello. But it looks very pretty, and it sounds acoustic. I'm enjoying playing it unplugged as much as I am plugged in, and then the combinations of the and I can blame Jeff McElroy to an extent for this, for his video about Les Pauls and how to dial them in, because I'm applying a lot of the logic there. But yeah, it's a nice expensive guitar, and it's been set up by Steve at Guitar Lodge out in East Anglia, so it plays like a dream. And I'm a bit worried that I might have to find some money to buy a real life expensive guitar for the first time in a while, because A, I'm tight, and B, I'm tight. There we are. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Fingering a Gibson and messing around with Studio One. So nothing wildly interested in, yet I've made it last for about 8 minutes. What just in case he's going to be livid with me already, isn't he? So enough about me. Let's talk about Paul. What videos have we had out this week?
So what we had that. I did the open. I opened up the Marshall.
Yeah, the Marshall came apart. Yeah,
yeah.
I thought I'd do a quick video because loads of people are saying, is it hand wired? Is it PCB? Whatever. So I just opened it up. And then I had a video to do for Bogren Digital, the new metal amp thing.
Yeah,
it's quite clever. Yeah, I like that. I'm getting a bit. I mean, it's great and it sounds great and if that's your sort of thing, it's probably the best sounding out there. I would have thought by what it can do.
Right.
But I think I'm just having my fill of
plugins,
amp sim plugins stuff at the moment. But you know, and that's no offense. It sounds brilliant. It's really, really good. It's really good. The high gain stuff's not massively my thing, but you know, I can appreciate how good it is. But yeah, so that, and then Lee's coming up. No, it's it's called the MLC. It's an amp company called MLC. I've never heard of it. But yeah, it's obviously some sort of high-end boutique metal amp.
Ditto.
He has done a really good job, especially with that.
Blimey, I'm reading and talking at the same time. Paul and I had a couple of texts about this, dear viewer. I was interested based on what they're doing with the IRs of making it try and recreate the movement of the speaker. Oh, look at that!
What are you thinking, man?
It's a slush puppy that's defrosted.
That's exactly
that or WKD Blue.
It's slush puppy squash.
Brilliant.
Shit. Are you serious? They make slush puppy squash?
Yeah.
Where can you get that?
Aldi.
Heaven.
Jesus.
I mean, there's nothing natural in that, is there?
Well, it's mostly water.
And then a new guitar turned up. New guitar day.
The black strap.
And
lovely.
Is it within grabbing distance?
Yeah. I grabbed that, and a couple of amps turned up.
Oh,
up as well.
Now I'm a little bit.
It's been a bit.
I'm a bit worried. Lee, is Paul occasionally glitching for you as well, or is it?
Yeah.
Right. Paul, there is every chance that
me. I might come in and out. I might come in and out then, because you guys are glitching all over the place on my thing. So,
well, Lee is crystal clear at this end. So I'm wondering if it's you, mate. Anyway, yeah, let's talk about that. It arrived. When did it come?
That is lovely. That is lovely.
It did. It's a Fender. It's a custom shop Poblano Strat, which is a type of chili, I think. So it's got quite hot output pickups.
You can't say that.
The neck, I don't even know if you can see it. The neck is like the biggest neck you've ever seen.
Looks chunky. That
it's like it's bigger than my old Nocaster.
No.
And the Nocaster was like that. So it's
looks
massive.
Like it's been buried in the garden for 3 months as well.
Yeah, it's definitely been smacked about a little bit, but it's great. It's nice and lightweight. It's got big jumbo frets on it, massive thick neck.
Yeah,
and it looks like Dave Gilmour sort of dropped it out of his tour van, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The buried in the garden thing, I think, is very apt comment. When I watched that Marshall video, when you opened up the gizzards of it and saw that neck for the first time, I thought, how have they decided on the aging process of the fingerboard? because between 3 and sort of 9, the D to high E is really dark, where they're assuming that people play a lot of frets. D to high E as in higher pitch, and then you get past 10, where presumably even more action happens, and it's brighter, but the really dusty frets.
Oh, I see.
See what I mean?
I see. I see what you mean. It doesn't look like that, actually. I think that's just a darker. I mean, that's all natural, mate. That's natural. That's like ever since I got it the other day. Yeah, since I got it the other day, I've just been
brand new when you took it out of the case, yeah?
It was. Look at the state of it now. No, I know they're a bit contentious. People either you love or you hate relics, but as I've explained many a time, I love relics because I don't have to worry about it. It's great. I can give it a knock. I can give it a smack. Take it to a gig. It falls over. Doesn't matter. It's great.
This is it.
So there's that.
What came with it? What came with it, Paul?
This.
Talking.
Here we go.
Oh, I'm very fizzy about this.
So this is it's a Vibrachamp.
Mm-hmm.
Custom.
Nice.
And it's got what's interesting about this, it's 5 watts.
Yep.
It's still like you know, if you want to crank it out, if you want to distort it, you've got to turn it up way past home levels. There's no way that anyone could have that in a flat. There's no way. Yeah. But the thing that's interesting about it, it's called the 68 Custom, right, but they put a digital reverb in it. A digital reverb. So yeah, it's as far as I know, because I'm pretty sure it's a digital reverb, because it doesn't go badoing, and it doesn't sound like a spring. It sounds more hally. Sounds great. I love it.
Yeah.
And the trem circuit is just really, really good. So it's not going to be a keeper.
No.
No, because I haven't got the space for it, and it's not the sort of amp. I mean, it sounds brilliant, but I haven't got, it's not the sort of amp that I would use on a regular basis. So, and then this turned up as well. Hold on, I'm going to plug this.
Greg's checking the value of his shares to see if he can buy it.
Yeah, forget the 335. Jesus, forget the 335. This is.
Here we go.
God, what is that? Oh, it's divided by 13, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's divided by 13 CJ11. So it's their Tweed circuit. It's unbelievable. It sounds amazing.
Massive cabinet for that speaker.
Huge.
Look at that.
It's a whopper, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 11 watt. It sounds amazing. It's like a proper wood cabinet. It's brilliant.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I picked that up for a song from a guy from Southampton, actually, Lee, from your neck of the woods. And his name, you might know him actually.
Don't say
in a metal band, or plays in an 80s rock band.
Don't say it, just in case he gets annoyed about how much you shift it.
Just say his first name. Say his first name. It's not Nick, is it?
Just say yes. Just say yes. It was Nick.
Let me just let go on. You guys chat for a little bit. Let me just find out, and
I feel partially responsible for that purchase because I was waxing lyrical about the Tweed clone that I've got on the other side of the wall there.
Yeah.
And not too many days later, Paul said, "Yeah, look at this," and you're quite happy with it as well, aren't you?
Oh, Paul. No, his name's Paul. How can I forget that?
Mr. Paul Drew.
Yes, his name was Paul. Sorry, I can't remember. Do you know any guitar players named Paul?
I'm just trying to rack my brains. I probably do. Oh, we'll chat about it tomorrow. We'll chat.
We'll chat. I probably shouldn't say Paul's surname just in case.
Awesome.
Sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, no, but really pleased with that. Really pleased with that.
Plays in a band called Kiss or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, if everybody else can please, guitar players called Paul, that'd be great.
The only thing about it for me is that I wish it had reverb. It doesn't have reverb, but
yeah, right. Riddle me this, Mr. Drew. Your matchless to your left that got reverb?
Yep. No.
Right. So how is it all right for the matchless not to have reverb, but it's divided by 13 should try harder? Now get out of that. Go on.
I think because the matchless are traditionally box style amps,
Right.
and that is a tweed. And I know a lot of tweeds don't have reverb, but that's a tweed.
The one that way, sorry, hasn't got it.
Yeah, that hasn't got it either. So do you go in the front end? Do you just set the reverb in the front?
Yep.
And you're happy with that? I just can't see at a gig how I could use that going in the front end with. If you want to, we'll talk about this later. We will. It's probably worth a video, but I love it. And there's other ways I can use it.
Talk about another time. Lovely. Right. There are a gazillion comments. Wow. Lee, why don't you read this week, and I'll just sit and.
No, I'll do the reading.
I can't see them.
Oh right. Okay, Paul, you drive. I'll read.
No, I don't mind reading. I'm quite used to the. Here we go.
Yeah, and well, Johnny, it's got to be that sad, hasn't it? Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny. Yeah, cheers, Johnny. So Johnny said nice little mention. He said nice little mention of TSR on TPS, that pedal show on Monday. Mick said he's only recently become aware of you. I reminded him of your names in the chat, and he read them out. More subs, hopefully. Cheers, Johnny. Much appreciated.
Yeah, well,
yeah. Thanks for doing that for us. He says, "Hey, Greg, there are often discussions about guitar finishes, nitro versus poly, etc. Is the finish on classical instruments discussed as much or not?" Oh, that's a good question. Just wondering, Charles.
It's about, well, I suppose it does to an extent mirror the electric guitar world in that it boils down to how much are you spending. If you were to buy a Boozy and Hawkes student instrument for pittance, so for context, something like an East Coast S or LP style, it'd just have a really orangey varnish finish to it. Once you start to get into the higher levels, it's basically furniture polish. It's highly polished, beautiful, antique style finishing of what's the word, luthier standard instruments. So yeah,
but they don't put nitro or poly. They don't put nitro on it. Interesting. No. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when nitro was invented, but it wasn't when Stradivarius was knocking about making the best instruments in the world that have yet to be better. So yeah.
Al says, "Good evening, guys."
Really good of you, mate.
What's that?
I'm just saying thanks again to Johnny because I'd not clocked you on here before, but your name rang like a bell on Monday as I almost dropped my drink, stood at the kitchen cooking, and hearing your comment being read out, I was really pleased.
Cheers, Johnny. Al says, "Good evening, guys. Hope you're both well. Hope the three of you are well, and had a great week. Nice new Strat pull. Cheers, Al.
Nice to see you out."
Daniel says, "Good evening, rats from a warm and sunny North Carolina. Just downloaded the MLC Sub-Zero 100 plugin demo for a test drive. Thanks, Paul. Nice one, Daniel. You'll enjoy that. If you love the high gain, well, even the clean tones, it's really versatile. It's really versatile."
Yeah.
Mendel says, "Evening and up." Nice one. David says, "Evening, all rat fans. Hope you're all well. And to you, mate." Scent of a wheelchair pillow. He says, "Happy Wednesday, guys." And to you, mate. Bogeyman, "Evening, all. What do your pedal boards look like these days?" I can probably show. Mine hasn't changed very much.
Have you put the new Great Eastern Fuzz on it yet?
No, because this is my.
Duelist's doing the honours.
You've gone over to the Duelist now. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I sort of switched between the Duelist, the Riverside, and Palisades. To me, it's just like I can't make my mind up which one I prefer. To be honest, if I had a bit more space on the board, I'd put another one on there.
You'd probably have more.
So I might try and find a way of doing that. Let's have a look at Lee's. Damn. Look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what are you using a multi-stomp for?
So I really like, there's a Klon Centaur patch on there, and I'm using it just as a drive on the front end. It sounds really good. I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm kind of swapping it between that and the trusty old Riverside. Wow. I can't really make up my mind which one I prefer. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not using it for drive into a clean channel. I'm using it for, shreddy type loveliness on top of an already dirty channel. So I'm kind of thinking that, mate, it doesn't really matter what drive you use. They're all going to sound, in that context, they're probably all going to sound very similar.
Yeah. Fair play.
Fair dude.
But I was really interested to see the Origin Effects. Is it this Halcyon Gold drive that got released this week? That looks really nice.
That's on the news.
I've got that. If you want to borrow a Klon style pedal, mate, I've got loads. So if you want to try a proper one. By the way, we should just say before we go any further.
Who's this?
Yeah, Fender 1960 Custom Shop. He says, "Hello guys, I've survived the onslaught of gas temptations for the new Friedman Jakey Lee 20 watt. Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? Unusual though, don't you think? Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. How pulled up an awesome Friedman preset in my Axe FX3 and Jan Frails, gas satisfied. Nice one, mate. Unusual endorsee, I would say.
Yeah, I thought that as well. He's not exactly
Don't get me wrong.
Known to everybody.
No, brilliant guitar player, and was absolutely fantastic. And for me, actually, I think he was Ozzy Osbourne's best guitar player.
Yeah, he wasn't there for long, was he?
No, he was brilliant.
One tour.
Yeah. It's just that was some time ago.
It was because
he did ago.
Yeah, then he did a band called, was it Badlands?
Yes, he did do Badlands. Yeah.
That
was a bit. But yeah, I mean, fantastic, absolutely fantastic guitar player, and well deserved. But people might be scratching their heads, going, "Who's Jakey Lee?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's the same. The other endorsee that they had was Steve Stevens, and that's another guitar player from sort of 40 years ago as well.
That is true, actually. But you hear more of Steve Stevens than you do of Jakey Lee.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But yeah, I mean, both amazing guitar players. I mean, he does pick them. What was the other thing? And also he's got Jerry Cantrell. He's got this Jerry Cantrell model. I'm sure there was a Phil X model as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Okay, next, Jonathan Rich. I think that's where we are next. Yes.
Nice.
He says, He says, hi guys, quick question. K-Line Springfield or Fender Custom Shop used? Asking for a friend. That's a really good question.
I've no idea. I know John Cordy really likes the K-Lines, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I've not played either, so I don't know.
Are you buying it to keep it or buying it to play it? If it's a keeper, get the one that hails from California, because you'll not lose money on it. Yeah,
the resale value, I guess you'd have to think about. Yeah,
but without a doubt, I mean, if you're worried about the resale value, the Fender Custom Shop won't go down in price if you're buying a used one.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the first custom shop that I ever bought was a secondhand 1962 relic, heavy relic, and I bought it for 1,100 quid.
Wow!
How long ago?
And that was 7 years ago. Really good guitar. Wish I hadn't got rid of it. Yeah. Really nice guitar. And you could sell that now for $3,000, 2.5 to $3,000, I would say. So, and that's what's happening with guitars at the moment. If you go and buy go and see the price of a new Les Paul or a new Fender. It's bonkers.
Yeah,
Fenders have really gone up. Even the cheap ones have really gone up.
Yeah,
I remember about 2017, 2018, you could buy a Mexican player standard for about, if you haggled, you could probably get one for about $480. Now they've gone up to $689.
Yeah,
I'm clutching at straws here. However, based on my interaction in the timber world in the last 7 years, I wonder if the vast price hike that we saw in construction as a result of COVID and supply chain issues is now starting to come through in guitar world as they've used up all of their stocks of stuff that they bought cheaper pre-COVID. Is that now gone through, and now they're simply having to reflect the fact that the raw materials they're working with, well, look, we're paying that for it. We're going to lose money unless we hike the prices accordingly. But it'll never go down if the timber price.
I was just about to say that. That's the thing that annoys me more, I think. It's not, you know, because if it was like gas and electric, where it kind of fluctuates and goes up and down, but they won't ever go down, will they? Now, because if they continue to sell, that's the key, I guess. If sales drop off, they might consider putting the prices down. But if they continue to sell at that price, then they're just forever going up, aren't they?
Of course.
Yeah. I don't think you can go wrong with a custom shop. I think you should try it out. And I would say, what custom shop? There are. I think they're called the deluxe series, which are always the cheapest custom shops, which basically look like an Ultra, a Fender Ultra. They're normally, I don't know if they're poly. They look poly. They look. I've had one, and if it is, it's got like quite a thick finish. They're normally sort of pristine. They normally have like flamed or burl maple necks, that sort of stuff. But they end up being on the cheaper end. Now they're not as sought after as the relics and that sort of stuff. But great guitars. I mean, I would personally, I'd go for the custom shop.
I think I probably would as well. Purely when, as you say, you know, you're spending that kind of money, you want something that's going to hold, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I have played a K-line. There was Clive, who do you remember I did a video with James about a year ago, I guess. We looked at a 1959 Les Paul and a 52.
That's more than
Telecaster.
a year. But yeah, I remember.
Is that more than a year?
Must be.
Was that when you went round to that guy's house and you were in someone's
Clive?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, and he had a K-line. And I didn't like it, to be honest. But you know, it's each their own.
Yeah.
I hope that helps, Jonathan. If you want to send me any details through the website, I'm happy to help and, you know, give some advice and stuff, because I've had quite a few custom shop stuff. Jeff says, good morning from Brisbane. He says, I can barely type because it's so cold. 9 degrees.
9? Oh, my word.
Hey. Hope everyone's happy and healthy, and yourself. John, afternoon, John. Funky Bass, evening all. Good to see the lads on today. Hope Jive is having a good holiday.
He seems to be.
Huh?
He seems to be, as far as I can make out.
Yeah, you can tell he's getting it's coming to the end of the holiday. You can see him getting twitchy. Because he sent me messages like, what should I call the new Studio Rats tech channel? That sort of thing.
He'll be back.
Send up a wheelchair pillow says, wondering what band's guitarist did you cut your teeth on when you started learning songs? 80 shredder music looked too daunting, so I didn't start playing until late in life.
Oh, that's a good question. Do you know what I spent? I first picked up a guitar in the summer of '89, and all through those summer holidays, I played along to an album that had just been released by a Scottish band called Gun.
Gun, yeah.
And the album was called Taking on the World. And I learnt that entire album in that summer holidays, every single track. Absolutely brilliant album that is.
Really good.
So there you go. That's what taught me to play guitar, that album.
Didn't Gun do the cover of
Word Up? Yes.
Word Up. Such a great cover as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. I got the
their first three albums were brilliant. The first 3 albums were brilliant.
Awesome. What was my first thing? I mean, my dad was a big Clapton and is big Clapton and Knopfler fan, so I think I was sort of brought up listening to that sort of stuff. And but then I really got into 80s sort of shreddy metal, hair metal. Ironic, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. I think I've said it before. The one that really lit my fuse was Pornography. I mean, there were things prior to that, but when I heard that, I was just gone. Got that tab book and just devoured it. Couldn't play more than about 25% of it. Still can't, but it basically taught me how to play electric guitar.
I think I know the opening chord to More Than Words. It's G, I think.
I learnt the intro to Get the Funk Out, which is
that. Did
you?
Yeah.
I could play that.
So good, so good.
Oh.
Here we go. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. I'm not to be trusted with this stuff. Jeff says, started playing 1978 and just put together my first ever pedal board on Tuesday. Is that some sort of record? Taking some time.
Yes, and you should be proud of it,
When's
Jeff.
your first gig, Jeff?
Nice one, though.
Just taking it easy. First gig isn't for another 10 years.
Jeff's a stalwart. I'm assuming he's still in the chat, and he would be good enough to share with us what his signal path is.
Yeah,
and if it goes wah amp, I'll be even more happy. Yeah. Anyway, what's on the board, Jeff? Tell us.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Alan, he said, rats and cats. So great to see y'all and to you.
Hello, Alan.
Nabs in the house. He said, greeting, gents. Over the weekend, I had new guitar day, a brand new Strat Pro 2. Nice.
Tasty. How are you getting on with it?
Strats to me are one of those things you either, they take a bit of getting used to, don't they? I think if you're used to other guitars and used to things that have a bit more guts to them, you plug in a Strat and go, oh, this sounds a bit Hank Marvin. And then and you know, then you start playing around with the tones and stuff, and then you get that awesome Steve Ray Vaughan sort of neck tone, and you just go, oh, that's what it's about.
Yeah. And you get a bit disconcerted about how easy it is to play because it's been moved out of the way, so you can.
They're really comfortable as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Bearing in mind what we said last week about Telecaster not being a fat guy guitar. Times when I've played the Telecaster for a few weeks and then put it down and then picked up a Strat, it's like, oh. That's better.
Nick Torius, he says, evening, gents. What amplifier would you use with a Gretsch hollow body guitar? I'm thinking of purchasing a Morgan MVP 66. It's JTM 45 style. Do you have any other suggestions? Depends what sort of music you're playing, I would say.
Victory Duchess.
There we go.
Dan Steiner, was it Dan on Monday, was talking about Pete Townsend recording a Who album with a Gretsch, going into an amp you wouldn't expect, and I can't remember what the amp was. But I just, if I was going to play an actual hollow body rather than a semi-hollow, I would want it to do something where you could hear the clarity and the more acoustic nature of it. So I'd want a clean amplifier. So I'd just go Fender clean of some ilk. Try Deluxe, see where you get to. Because a mucky amp is going to presumably
strangle the tone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't think of the words. I'm not very articulate tonight, although I'm sure Justin will tell me that I'm always like that. Yeah, something that allows the personality of that guitar to come out rather than being hidden by the drum. Is what I
guess a JTM 45 is like a basement. So that is like a classic, and the basement's a classic sort of rockabilly amp.
Yeah.
I would say if you're spending that sort of money, if you're looking at sort of Morgan money, check out Matchless as well. You know, not a different sort of flavor, but possibly a little bit more versatile than a JTM 45 sort of style amp.
Second-hand 2-rock territory at Morgan prices.
Possibly the studio. I mean, the thing is, you see 2-rocks, and I see 2-rock amps selling secondhand for $4,000 just for the heads. So
mental, isn't it?
It's crazy money. Yeah. I mean, try out the MVP 66 if you like it. And I think if you're looking at that sort of thing, I think I would, if you're spending that sort of money, I think I would take a good day out and go to a really good amp store and go and try out as many things as possible and as loud as possible with lots of breaks.
Yeah. Hello,
Matt's in here from Distant Sun. He says, "Evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday, and to you, mate." Alan says, I've given up hoping for a great mix every set. Suck it up and play. I think I wish I could do that more. I wish I could just not get. I wish I could just like relax and just not get pissed off that I can't hear myself properly. Or
but every venue sounds different as well, so that doesn't help.
It does.
Yeah.
No, I think that's one of the good things about going in ears and going digital, that sort of thing, because it's the same.
Here's the thing.
It's also about how close to the drummer I am as to how well as to how much I enjoy the gig. If I'm far away from the drummer, it's usually a brilliant gig.
It was a good night. A few years ago, I had a residency over the festive season in Billingsgate in London, and I had my molded in ears, and it was horrible. It was like a curved, basically like the Cavern. Think of the Cavern, like that, but with hundreds and hundreds of people in it. And every night we'd sound check, and it'd sound fine, and then people would come in, and it just horrible.
And completely different.
And I remember about 4 nights in, because my ears were killing, because all I could do to get over it was just keep turning it up and up and up.
Oh no!
So the sound was, it's right in there, and I was just ringing all the way home, and driving 50, 60 miles back up the road to East Anglia. And I remember getting in one night and emailing Jay Stapley, that I've mentioned before, that has done all manner of things for Boss and loads of people over the years, and just saying, any ideas, mate? I'm desperate here because I can barely hear anything, and I've got another 4 weeks of this. And he just said, sometimes you just got to turn it down and trust your fingers. The set, what you're doing.
Yeah.
As Alan's saying, suck it up and get on with it.
Yeah,
True.
There we are.
Nick Torres says, on the topic of amplifiers, what style of amp would you recommend for a nice, warm, clean jazz tone? Probably just if you're after that sort of thing, just go for a solid state. I don't know, Quilter. Most of the jazz tones that you hear, especially sort of more, nowadays, jazz guitarists tend to use solid state amps.
Yeah, but that DV Mark thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
God, who is it that plays that? They've got a signature model, haven't they? It's not Eric Gales.
Yeah, Eric Gales has got it. Eric Gales has got it. Yeah, it's called I don't know what it's called. It's called something. One of the sort of things he always says. Yeah, it's called that.
I did some recording for someone back in COVID, and they wanted a jazz sort of guitar part laid down on the end of this particular song. And so I just recorded a load of stuff and sent it off to them. And they said, wow, what guitar did you use? Did you use like a hollow body or a 335 or something for that? I said, no, I just used the strap that turned the tone knob down.
I always think that about jazz tones. It's not like it's never the sort of tone that you go, God, that's a great tone. It's just the same tone. Yeah. It's just that sound is just like they all just go, no, that's the sound I want. I'm not going to go for any individuality over this. I just want the same sound as what he's got, and he's got the same sound as what he's got.
Just roll off all the top end.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But people do.
If there were any jazzers that watched this channel, there aren't anymore.
I don't think any jazzers watch this channel. Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan. He says, hope you're all inspired as ever. Paul, I returned your email. I'm guessing have ended up in spam bin again. Something for you and James. Oh, cheers, mate. I'll have a look. What was it? Let us know what it was. I'd love to know. Look, he's got that has turned up, isn't it? Is Tyler. Right. Johnny Love, get the valves out, Lee. You'll know you just end up there in the end after the experimentation. I heard someone talk about that actually. Someone just saying, you know, we all end up just going, you know, who was that? It was. I was watching something. Someone was saying, you know, we all end up just trying stuff and then going. Eventually, just go back to a valve amp because it sounds better. I think it was Corey Wong actually.
I've not had glass bottles since 2017.
Why is this?
Wow.
And your back's never been better.
Nabs, he says, hi gents, last weekend I had a new guitar day, a brand new Strat Pro 2 HSS. I love the deep C neck, which by the way is a bit thicker than the neck of my bar heart. Oh, so it's got a thick neck. Plays and sounds great. Nice one, Nabs. We like the sound of that.
Good
I think
stuff.
Nabs has just filled in a little bit more information than
Yeah.
Funky Bass, he says, just downloaded DaVinci Resolve today. First foray into video editing. Driving me nuts. The only part that made sense was the audio editor with all my DAW plugins showed up. Yeah, it's good, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's a good thing about DaVinci.
For what it's worth, Funky, seek out the flies are back. Seek out Casey Ferris with one R and a guy called Mr. Alex Peck. They are two YouTube channels that helped me get from where it sounds like you are, just thinking, how the hell does this work, to, it's not actually that difficult.
No, it isn't that difficult. It isn't. I think there's a couple of shortcuts that you should learn. The cut. I don't know what it's called. Basically, it's where you cut and then you delete what you've just cut.
Ripple delete.
Ripple delete. Thanks, Greg. That's what it's called. That to me is possibly the only or the fastest thing. If you can learn that, dosh, get it all together, and it doesn't take. It still takes long. And then you have to worry about getting the right luffs or whatever it's called for YouTube and all that sort of bollocks. And
yeah, it's like, you know, think of the bass that you're playing now and the one that you started with. You can go from A to B, and then you can travel VIP.
Oh yes, exactly. Yeah. Caesar's Revenge. He says, curious as to whether any of you have any experience with Bogner amps. I've recently acquired the 18-watt Atma, and I'm extremely impressed with it. Yeah, I've had a bit of. I played through most of them. Yeah, really good. He's a bit of a fruit. Yeah. Reinhard Bogner is a character, isn't he? Do you see that? Have you ever seen that picture? Don't look it up, although I know people will.
It's not very
picture Huh?
Weird shorts on it now.
Yeah. Basically, he's at NAMM and he's wearing this costume, and you can basically see his todger through the, you know, like he's not wearing. It's like it's see through, and it's like, can you imagine going to NAMM and going, mate?
Yeah.
Where's your plan?
It's not the right show. The adult awards were a fortnight ago.
It's so funny. You got to look up that picture. It's quite amusing.
Dave Friedman tells a good tale about that on his show, actually.
What's that? Who does?
Dave Friedman.
Does he?
Yeah. I won't. Let's just move on. Safety first.
Okay. Yeah. Going back to the amps. Yeah, they're all great. They're all great. I don't think I've ever played a bad one. The Atma, it comes in a few different sort of guises, doesn't it? No, all great. Have a lovely time. Buy one of them. You'll have a nice time with that. Johnny Love says, I remember in a Phil Spector interview once he said he thought he'd worked with perfectionists before until he worked with George Harrison, who took it to the 9th degree with his guitar tracks. Look at that. Jim Simmons, check out the free Audio Assault Amp Locker Marshall Prestige 1959 amp modeling plugin. Sounds great. Nice. There we go.
Good stuff.
Martin, Lee, what time are you playing on Hailing tomorrow?
6 p.m.
Nice. That's a nice early gig, isn't it?
Yeah, we should. Well, because it's pretty much dark. Well, what time is it now? 10 to 9. It's starting to get dark out there, isn't it? So yeah, we'll be finished and wrapped up by 9. So
nice.
Time for a couple of relaxers afterwards, maybe.
Yeah. Chris says, "Evening, guys. Evening, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Funky Chris. Aldi are going to be commenting on this video, asking the rats to do a video on the slush puppy squash. Is it really slush puppy squash? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's made by.
I'll get the bottle if you like and show you. Yeah.
Honestly, if my son knew about that,
Oof.
Jesus. Paul says, wiped with Rory Gallagher's post-gig jock strap.
I can't think what. Right, that's your strap, isn't it?
It's a bit like that. You could have come up with something else apart from this jock strap, though. Could have been like Gene Simmons' spiky wristbands or whatever.
Yeah.
Jay Wright says, nice strap, Paul. Reverb in a Champ. Weird, yeah. Doesn't the Champ have reverb? See, I don't know a lot about Champs. Maybe the actual normal Champ doesn't actually have reverb.
Is that John Wright that also did a video on Tonex when it arrived, asking if it was a thingy killer? What are the German guys called?
Kemper
killer. Let's find out. Anyway, sorry, Al.
Maybe. Al says, I met Mick TPS. Oh my God, it's one of those little ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's gonna love that. He would love that. I'm actually going to get him one of them. I met Mick TPS at NAMM, and we had a great chat about all things audio. Lovely guy. I had to cut the chat short. There was some bloke called James wanted to catch up. Unbelievable.
And indeed, James was the chap that was sat within a seat of Mick on the journey home from NAMM this year.
There we go. Jay Wright, strange. Johnny Love, I really understand what Paul is saying about relics, but it's also funny when you think of other products you buy, e.g. cars getting smash one up a bit before you buy it.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny?
That's true. That is true. What is the difference? I've never
Someone
thought
only
of
has
it
to
like that.
breathe on someone else's car, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, try it off the forecourt and the value's gone.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it. I've never thought of that.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. Interesting. Yeah. Duncan, he says, evening studio rats, just back from me holidays. Nice one, mate.
Oh.
Hope you went somewhere nice.
Mine's coming up. Can't wait.
Where you going?
Going on a cruise again, around the Med.
Oh, nice.
Tasty.
Nice.
Tasty.
Yeah, I fancy a bit of that.
Hang on a minute.
Nigel Smith demos. He said, do something on Divided by 13. Sheryl Crow's guitarist, who was big on old style power amp design. There we go.
I'm going to look up.
Can't even think who Sheryl Crow's guitarist is.
She's had a couple.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Sheryl Crow's guitar player. The last tour she did. There we go.
It was Kevin Gilbert for a little while, wasn't it?
Don't know, but I know that one of them was using a bunch of. It was using two Marshall Studio Classics, the little plexes.
Get them today. Hope joke.
It's all right. Just while I've got the phone in hand, what I'm going to do here, dear viewer, is go to the live stream and hit like
and click like.
Just click
there
like. See? Didn't put me out. Didn't make me stumble in my drinking rhythm. Still enjoying the chat. Pressed like. Everything was fine.
It really does help. Yeah, guys, if you can give us a like, it helps like you wouldn't believe. So if you're on YouTube, and you're enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, don't.
Absolutely
enjoying it.
How can anyone not enjoy what we're doing here?
Three middle-aged blokes waffling on about gubbins.
Yeah, we've covered squash and relics and bollocks,
done everything,
hanging out at music shows and everything. We've done everything.
It wasn't just a todger. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Jeff Cook, have you ever come across Fender Twin Reverb Custom 15? It's a twin reverb with a single 15-inch speaker. So not really a twin anymore. There's not one far from me on eBay. I've never come across that. I know that Fender have done a few amps with 15s. But that sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Give that a go. We've done Fender 1960. Jay Wright says, I used to mic up my 79 2203 and use a local mic preamp into my reverbs and delays and then onto the board. Yeah, great idea. That's a great idea. Yes, you could do it that way. The only thing about that is you're not monitoring. That's not what you're monitoring, not unless I guess you're using in-ears. And I'm trying to think if there's any downside to what you're doing. Hey, if it works, it works. Awesome stuff.
To set up.
JV's Hangout. He says he loves the Tone X pedal. Nice one, JV. I do too. It's an awesome thing.
Is it just me, or are there some new names here tonight?
Yeah, I think there are. Yeah.
I'm not sure I've seen Nigel Smith demos, and am I speaking out of turn to say I don't recall seeing JV here before?
I don't think I've seen. I've definitely heard JV. I've definitely heard JV's Hangout. So maybe JV has come up before, or I've seen JV before somewhere else.
There's JV.
There's JV. Nice one.
The subscribers. I'm going to subscribe to you as well, JV.
Look at that. Nice one. Cheers, JV. Hold on, look at this.
Have you along?
See, look at this. That I think you can see there's an arm that's appeared. She won't come in. She won't come into shot.
Oh, no.
Thanks, sweetheart. Thank you.
The lesser spotted Mrs. Drew.
There you go. Here we go. Kim Lad. He says, Paul, that's another new name.
Yeah.
Paul, just bought a Tana Mark II head, and I'd like to incorporate my Kingsley Squire pedal into the mix. Would you suggest putting in the front end effects return or power amp in? I know Kingsley make preamp pedals. What one's the Squire, Greg? Do you know more about this than I do?
Valve preamps, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I don't want whatever the Katana does digitally to flavor that, as it were. I want it in its purest form. It's like having, a really good whiskey and then chucking a load of coke in it, as far as I'm concerned. Keep it as close to its designed sound as you possibly can, Kim. That would be my suggestion. Might cause bother doing it like that. Yeah, you're going to miss out on some of the other delights of the Katana, I suppose. But yeah,
I think can you switch it in and out? Can you switch the Katana? Can you switch the effects loop in and out?
You must be able to do that in Tone Studio. Surely to goodness.
It'd be interesting. Yeah. I think like Greg. I know you can move around. I'm sure you can move around where the effects loop is. So you could do it so you get the effects post. So if you want to use the reverb and delays and that sort of thing, you could do that. But yeah, great, mate. I'd like to hear how that sounds.
Send return. You can do post amp or post reverb, and in series or parallel, according to Tone Studio. So
so I would. I mean, depends. I mean, I like reverb. I can't bloody play without reverb. I'd go post amp pre reverb. That's what I would do. I think you'll have a lovely time with that. I'd love to hear that, actually.
Yeah.
James is here. Location recordings. James is here, and he says evening boys from a wall phone party in the Isle of Wight. So James is commenting from his swingers party. Jesus, phone party. What's he doing?
That's not what he said in the text, is it? He's obviously had a few tins, and all bets are off now.
He's making contact with his inner 18-year-old if he's gone to a phone party.
And the Isle of Wight. I don't even know if they've heard of foam.
Yeah, they're just catching up. It's still sort of 1997 over there, isn't it?
I don't remember him mentioning a foam party when he was texting us the other day.
I can't imagine him. I can't imagine him doing stuff like that. David Bro says Randy Rhoads, and I will spot on your grave for that comment. No way.
You said he was off to fireworks the other day, and now it's turned into a foam party.
I think he's just trying to make it sound. I think he's just trying to make himself sound like he's
down with the kids,
just cool and stuff. Yeah, there's nothing's going on. He's in bed. He's in bed with a cup of cocoa.
Yeah,
reading the Exchange and Mark.
Absolutely, doing that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah. In his Star Wars pajamas, and he has got a few pairs of that.
Surprised me if you did that. Randy Rhoads, awesome.
Definitely not. There's a massive difference between Randy Rhoads and J.K. Lee. There's a massive difference.
Oh, like
Don't get me wrong. Zach Wilde as well. Yeah, great, awesome. He's not happy, is he? I've upset David. Nigel Smith demos. They marketed under 65 amps. Are they the same? Enlighten me. Divided by 13. No. 65 amps are not divided by 13. 65 amps are a complete different company. Yeah, were a different company. I should say they're bust. Anyway, Aristotle's Jake is in Dorsey for a reason. He is great, and he's friend with Friedman, aka Friedman, is a fan. Awesome, as he should be. He's a brilliant guitar player. JV said Jakey Lee was really great. Ultimate Sin album is awesome. Yeah, so good.
I'm going to download.
I remember listening to Jakey Lee and going, "Jeez." Gaza says, "Good day, fellas. Hope all is well. My Sire H7V arrived. Lovely guitar. Frets had a bit of a grind on some bends. Oh, that's a shame.
New guitars always do though.
What's that?
New guitars of that kind of ilk always do. Just get a tiny, really, really, really fine sandpaper and just run it over the frets, and you'll be fine."
P90 is quite noisy. Is that normal? Do you think? Yeah, P90 is a noisy mate.
And that side, let us know, Gary, but I bet that sire is really heavy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I had a sire. It weighed a ton.
Did it?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Nice guitar, but it just weighed a ton. Really made my shoulder ache after a gig.
In terms of the more accessible guitars that you've experienced, then, Lee, the sire was heavy. Is that the reason why you're happier with your Jets?
Yeah. Yeah, they're light as feathers.
And then weight aside, the other appointments, neck, frets, pickups and such like, how do they stack up against each other?
What, sire versus Jet?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's an awful lot between them, to be honest. You do get some certain refinements as standard on the sire, like locking tuners, roll edge fingerboard. Mm-hmm. So you have to, if you buy a Jet, depending on which model you get, but the Jets I've bought, I've put my own locking tuners on two of the guitars. The fingerboards are nicely finished, but I wouldn't say they're rolled. But the other thing I didn't like about the sire, I think we discussed it at the time, Paul, but didn't have a string tree, and the top E and the G were just dead, really dead.
Just for God's sake, just stick a string tree in it. It doesn't. Yeah. Why? That annoys the crap out of me. That does.
So no, I didn't really bond with the sire. Plus the fact, I did a couple of gigs with it, and it really made my shoulder ache. So I just thought, no, they're not.
Yeah, but even so, the H7 is. It's not a cheap guitar. I think it should be finished
better. They're all about £500, aren't they?
Yeah. The P90s, unfortunately, mate, P90s are noisy. I can't say how much noisy those ones are compared to other P90s, but P90s are traditionally quite noisy.
They all look really nice, though. The sires, all the finishes are lovely. They all
They do look pleasant, don't they?
Yeah. I love P90s as well, but don't worry about the noise. The noise is just embrace the noise. Al says, Lee, have you been getting on with your Jet guitar? So I'm looking at grabbing a JS 450 tomorrow for a modding project. What do you think?
Do it.
Yeah,
definitely.
There we go.
They are amazing.
Here we go. Jonathan Rich, he said, thanks for the advice, guys. I think John Cordy, turned my head over the Springfields. I need to play a few more custom shops. Plenty out there. Yes. Bello, he says, hi, guys. Do you have any news about a second and perfectly the same run of Focus Fuzz?
Run out of the magic ingredient, hasn't he?
Do you mean
the original one?
Oh, the original Focus Fuzz.
I'm guessing that's what Bello is referring to.
Yeah, because they've got. I did the video on the new Focus Fuzz, the silicon one.
The original germanium one was David had an batch of the chips, and once they're gone. That's why he's done the silicon one to address demand.
I think Bello might mean and practically the same rather than perfectly the same.
Right.
Is he saying that even he realizes that there's not a lot between the silicon and the is it geranium or whatever it is?
Germanium. There is. It definitely sounds different. It does sound different. Yeah, but the silicon one's great, mate. You'll have a lovely time with that. Send David a message. You never know that he might have one a germanium one just lying around. You never know. It's got a small. It's quite a small company, so I think yeah. Jonathan, of course. Yes. So Jonathan. Jonathan says, Paul, have you read any Bagman yet? I am. I think I'm about 90% of the way through it, because on a Kindle it tells you how much you're going through. Thoroughly enjoying it, to be honest, mate. I'm having a lovely time with it. It's so basically Jonathan's written this book. And I didn't work out at the beginning, even though it does say at the beginning, that it is fictional. But it basically goes on about it's about a guy that works in a guitar shop, and it's all very guitar related and stuff. And I was looking up, I was going, I've forgotten the name of the Bailey's Music in down near Brighton. Anyway, I was looking up on the internet, going, I can't find this shop. So I was being, highly recommended. If anyone's got a Kindle or anyone's got a Kindle account, because you can read it on your phone and your iPad, that sort of thing. There we go. It's called Bagman. That's it, and there it is.
Okay.
And it's really good, and it's thoroughly enjoyable. And apparently the studio act's featuring it at some point. So towards the end. So another shout out. I don't know if Jonathan was joking, but I haven't got to that bit yet. I'm pretty much at so he's done the gig. So no one else is going to get this apart from Jonathan. He's done the gig, and he's now. I'm not sure I understand.
Oh, shut up, Siri.
Anyway, yes, Jonathan. Don't worry, mate. As soon as I finish it, I will be in contact to give you full congrats and
an average rating of 5 stars out of 5. It's worth.
There we go. I'll give it a nice. Absolutely, I'll give it a nice big star rating. Willie, he says, "Mun the Rangers." Are the Rangers playing tonight?
I think that's supposed to be Mon the Rangers in the style of Mon the Biffy, as in
on the Biff.
Come on, Biffy Clyro.
Oh, I see. Oh.
So yeah, Mon the Rangers is the SPL started again, isn't it?
He says, Willie Hardman says, "What is Lee's beverage of choice? It's Radioactive Blue."
It is.
There's nothing good in that stuff. Have you got any left?
No, I've drunk it all.
Oh, dear.
Gone. Loves that stuff. Look, stained his glass. Look.
Wow.
Yeah. Mate, you're going to be glowing tonight. You're going to be pissing blue.
Oh, here we go, Jeff.
Here we go. So Jeff, just in case you just joined us, Jeff just built his first pedal board. He's been playing since 1978, and on his pedal board, he's got a Polytune 3 Mini. Nice, mate. I've got a couple of them. Boss CP1X. That's compressor. One of the digital. That's one of the the digital compressor.
Yeah.
Dunlop Hendrix wire. Ooh. Nice. He's got a Kingtone Vibe, 1968. Nice. A Governor. So he's doing the Vibe before the Governor. Nice. Then an 808 clone. Then a King of Clone. Nice. JHS Andy Timmons Plus. Nice. Morning Glory. God, he's got some drive pedals.
There's a lot of drives on there, isn't
there? Chorus, Delverb. Love Delverb. Lee wants to try that out tomorrow, actually.
I do, yeah.
As long as he doesn't touch my settings. If he touches my settings, I'll be very upset. Keeley Halo. Nice. Cool. He's got some nice stuff. Can I just can I change around a couple of things?
Mm-hmm.
Can I put the Halo before the Delverb? Because I always want my delays going into reverb.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know it's got delay going into that, but I would rather have the Halo delay before the reverb. Apart from that, awesome.
The Governor is a Marshall in a box, then a Tube Screamer, then a King of Clone. One assumes is you don't have to wait 4 to 5 years for a blues breaker and a Tube Screamer in a box.
Yeah.
Followed by the AT Plus, which is a JSM 800 in a box that's based on a Governor.
Yeah.
And then another blues breaker in the form of the Morning Glory. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I'm just interested that there are, in the order that they are, we've got potentially a
lot of the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then I
look like when you turn them all on at the same time.
Yeah. There's that, and also I think about that sort of stuff. If I'm at a gig, I don't want to be touching pedals and playing around with pedals. So if you like you want the sound of the Governor, but you want it on a light drive.
Yeah, sure.
And then you want another Governor. I'd have 2 Governors. Do you know what I mean? I'd have one on light, one on high gain, and do it that way.
The 808 into the Governor.
Yeah. I mean, it's all lovely stuff, isn't it? At the end of the day,
yeah, it is.
Great. Do a lot.
I'd love to, I'd like to hear that. I want to get more into. I really want to get more into going in the front end, everything in the front end of an amp. I've got to start doing more of that.
Yeah.
As opposed to sort of reverb and delays in the effects loop and all that sort of stuff.
Well, divided by 13 somewhere up there. Do it with that.
Yeah.
There's at least 2 videos there, aren't there? 1, this amp sounds awesome. 2, this is me understanding how effects go into the front of something that gives you no other option. Well,
I've captured it, so there's a Tone X pack coming out of it.
Nice.
So I've done that.
Since Siri's interrupted us, you know what we should do, because we're already 13 minutes late.
Okay, but then we're gonna have to start steaming through. Let's do it.
Blimey, really, I've got a few.
Yeah, if you see the entire screen, click on that. There we go. Right. So Fender have a new Strat out. Have you heard of Juan's Stratocaster? Fender Juan's signature Strat. I've never heard of him.
No,
he's a Colombian guitar player. Juan's. I'm guessing that's how you. I know nothing about him. Never heard of him. No. Interesting. So Fender he must be big to some extent for Fender to do a signature. Quite unusual that they would pick someone that I would have thought I would have heard of, but who knows? Who was talking about this? Lee, you were talking about this, weren't you?
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Just before you hop into it, Ones gets 17 million monthly listens on Spotify.
Well, and there's the reason. There we go. Well done, Fender.
From Spotify, you've got almost enough to buy one of your guitars a month.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be really interested to try it out. That Halcyon pedal.
Origin effects are excellent. I've got the I did the video on this.
Got the green one, haven't you?
I thought it was the EQ driver or something. Yeah,
I've got the MEQ driver.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the build quality of their pedals.
Yeah.
Absolutely bumpy. Do we need another clon? I'm not sure, but I've done it. But it looks nice, and again, it's going to be great because they do make great stuff. I'm a little bit. So Echo Fix EFP2 Spring Reverb.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what to think of this, because you can go and buy a reverb tank, and I know there's more that you have to, there's more things. You can't just plug anything into a reverb tank. You have to have sort of preamps and that sort of stuff going on. But it's 379 quid for a Spring Reverb.
How much did Jivey pay for that Fender Spring Reverb?
That's different. This is small. At least Jivey's one's got a spring that's about 12 inches long.
At least he got something for his money.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I think they've built this and they've gone, right, how can we try and make it look like a bit more expensive? Okay, we'll stick a VU meter on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make it look retro. That's got to be worth another 100 quid, surely.
Yeah, but if you look at the size of it, how big's the spring in that thing?
Oh yeah, my God, it's tiny.
Tiny. I don't know. I don't
Have
know.
you
But
heard Vantix review of it?
No.
For the sake, I've got no particular opinion, because I don't buy expensive stuff like that.
Yeah.
Except once every blue moon. I just listen to that for the sake of offering an alternative point of view. Sasha just plays like a dream. It sounds wondrous.
Does it?
Just sounds great.
Okay. Well, there we go. There we go.
Plus, if their Echo Fix, the tape delay thing that they did, is anything to go by, it's gonna be awesome.
Well, I guess they're just appealing to the Spring Reverb aficionado, aren't they?
Yeah.
And if you're a Spring Reverb aficionado, then you got some cash on the hip, you're probably going to buy it, aren't you?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I hate it because I wasn't sent one. Hey, so.
Oh, this looks interesting.
I mean, yeah. Well, and there's a couple of tabs to look through on this. So this is Disneyland salvage wood guitars. Literally smell as good as they look. Fender goes big on sustainability for unique California street woods collection. Right, I'm looking at each one of these.
Right,
I'm going. Hold on, let me zoom in. I'm going.
Yeah. That's a no.
No.
Possibly. Definitely not.
No.
Definitely not. Possibly.
In
fact, yeah, that's quite nice actually. Not so much that one.
The Cabernet is the only one that I'd be interested in that lot. And
can we put you down as a maybe then?
No, actually, that one I don't mind that.
Yeah, it looks all right.
That looks heavy. That to me looks heavy.
The one below it looks all right as well.
Just a gold hardware for me.
Yeah. Horrible gold hardware with black pickups.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It looks like
really expensive, like that. That one there, which we all said was a wrong one, is over 10 grand. This one here, the Telecaster, is 12,150.
Of course it is. Of course.
What about the one underneath it? The one that looks a bit George Harrison telly-ish with the black guy. Which is that? Oh,
11,525.
I'll just put me down for two, Fender. Put me down for two.
Yeah, and then so then there's so Fender, but what are they thinking?
What is going on there?
It looks like a 3-year-old has taken some crayons to that pickup.
It looks like a parts caster. It looks like a parts caster.
That's
and look, it's got a two. It's got a two.
It's not even in the right place.
Modern trim. What the hell?
That pickup's not even in the right place, is it? It's too far forward.
Yeah, it looks a bit confused, that one, doesn't it? With the 70s headstock. But those tuners look new as well.
Man, that is a whole world of wrong.
I mean, agree. Look, yeah. Fender, you've just undermined everything that you ever did correctly.
Fender, what are you doing?
To be honest, I don't mind that. But it looks
yeah,
heavy.
That's pleasant, isn't it? Yeah. I know that they don't put a price on that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot.
The one that we're all agreed looks all right, even though it also looks heavy, is the one that they're not even daring to put a price on.
So there's that, and then I clicked on this. So this is Fender Master Builders Custom Shop Prestige. So not only can you go and buy a custom shop, which will cost you, starting from about $4,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
You can go and buy. You can go and buy a Master Built, and they start from about $6-7,000. And now they've brought a custom shop Master Built Prestige, which is it's just like, come on, like how much more? I mean, and again, what the?
All of it just says no to me. $31,000.
Look at it. That is that. Excuse my French, but that's shit.
$31,000.
It's horrible. What are they thinking?
They're
Again, if they want to send me one,
you can't make that.
They're not going to sell many of those, surely.
Lord.
No, I imagine these are one-offs.
Gotta be, haven't they?
But look, what's going on with this?
That one's only $10,000. We'll have one of them each.
They put a circuit board in it. It just
something for George Harrison.
Did any of these really, really expensive high-end guitars exist 20, 25 years ago? I don't think.
No, I don't.
He's bizarre.
I mean, the only people that buy this, the only person that would buy that would be Kanye. That's going to stick on the ball. It's absolute.
Does look a bit Versace, that one, doesn't it?
It's just horrible. I mean, that looks all right, but
that's a $13,000. Paul Gilbert that you get that look exactly like it for $13,500.
You got a blue denim. You got one that's covered in denim. I mean, $14,000.
$14,000
for a set of jeans.
I mean, we've discussed this before, Paul. But at the end of the day, these are tools of a trade, aren't they? To make music with. I mean, it's a bit like Flymo suddenly coming out with a, custom shop prestige gold-plated lawnmower. I mean, why? What's the point?
Because it's lifestyle, isn't it? It's a lifestyle. That's what it is. It's people that have got the money. Who, to be honest, I mean, if you bought one of them, you haven't really got any taste.
Yeah,
it's just.
Before you said that, I was just going to say a lot of these guitars we've been looking at for the last 3 minutes, I imagine Jivey would really like.
He would actually love it. Oh my god, he'd go, "Oh, that's nice." What have they done with this?
Oh yeah, that's
all wrong, isn't it?
Oh god, I mean, the Cabernet is nice.
That's acceptable, isn't it? But I'm not paying $12,000 for it.
No,
I'll stretch to $8,000 for cash, but
indeed.
I'm more interested, Paul, before you leave that tab, in the 25th anniversary Harley Bentons that are being advertised on the outside.
I'd love to buy one, but they're not in stock.
Yeah.
It's not in stock.
No.
And look at that. And look at that. Everyone just go, yes.
Well,
Look great, don't they? Look great.
Yeah. They look really good. And I really like that. That one.
Look.
I want to get one of those.
Go to that one.
Yeah, that one.
Go to that. Click on it. Go to product.
I'm clicking.
It's down there. It says go to product, Paul. There you go.
Have they got any in stock?
Check price.
I love that. Audio examples. The first thing is Doom.
Is it going to share?
Yeah.
Look at
stock?
that. Changing £400.
No, not yet. It's not.
Mate, in stock. Oh, in stock within.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I had this discussion.
You check in 1 to 2 weeks, and that will say 1 to 2 weeks again.
Yeah,
If not in stock in 1 to 2 weeks, read this again.
James and I were in Glasgow about 3 months ago, and I was just sort of flicking through Tom, and I saw that, and he said, "Oh yeah, it's based on the Guthrie Govan, isn't it? It's basically a acceptable price point version of the Chevelle."
Yeah.
No, the Guthrie one's 2 humbuckers, 1 single, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remarkable similarities.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, it's all that sort of Sir, trying to make it look like a Sir Charbel type thing.
Right.
Steve says, "Geez, I'm always away. I'm always late. Soz, congrats on the TPS shout out Monday, lads. Cheers, Steve. Much appreciated, mate. Where is? Hold on. Have I gone too far? Have I gone right down the end?
What you've done, Paul, is missed out all of the news that I've got.
Oh, sorry, mate. No. Let's go back because Greg's kicking up, and I don't upset him.
Getting rare here. Right, hang on. Where are we? Oh, that's the wrong thing. Bear with. Right, can you all see my screen? Yep. Good. I'm going to start at this end. If you aren't already, just for sheer gear porn, if you can't afford to buy these things, go and subscribe to Marcus Reeves of Reeves Electro's waiting list or newsletter, and just look at these gorgeous things.
Look at that. That's nicely done, isn't it? That's a man that takes pride in his work. Look at that.
Well, look, here's the wonderful thing. All of these pedals have been done by his daughter.
Wow.
What?
These are the Darlington Flyers. So he normally does oh God, I'm getting this all wrong. Sorry. He normally does circuits that don't have either a board, be it PCB or Vero. They're just parts connected together, but they're doing a slightly more affordable version, the Darlington Flyer, which his daughter's putting together using these PCBs. But even so, they just look stunning, don't they? So look, sold out. They haven't even released them yet. Anyway, go and look up Reeves Electro, because they are just works of art and they make awesome noises.
How much are they?
Couldn't tell you because they haven't come out yet. So there's no point reference. You've already done the Echo Fix, so we won't worry about that. You've already done that, so we won't worry about that. Did you talk about this last week? I can't remember.
No.
It's Thorpe. It's a Univibe. It's going to be blooming awesome, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Built like a tank. Get involved. So that'll be a bit of fun.
Nice.
Right, I'm then going to go to this point here. TC.
Yes, I like the sound of that.
Works.
Yeah.
So Jim's 800. I wonder what that could possibly be, because they did that first 3 a few weeks ago, didn't they?
They did. I didn't like the sound of any of those, but that I do like the sound of.
That looks like a bit of fun.
He's going to have one of them.
550. What could that possibly be? Edwin Van Halen.
Not my scene.
You'd have a 5150. I thought you'd be all over that.
No.
And then the other one, the dual rec, one assumes
that looks quite good as well,
based upon the train wreck amps. And if you are unaware of train wreck, please.
Can I say? I think it's called Rectifier, mate.
It's the Mesa Boogie.
Have a little goose at that. Surely dual rec, the way that they've spelt wreck, surely to goodness.
No, it's Rectifier.
I think it's Rectifier.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it'd be great if they did. It'd be great if they did a train wreck, but
Wampler did the same thing, didn't they? They brought out a pedal called the Triple Rec, and it was based on the 3-channel rectifier.
I see. Right, I've got the wrong end of the stick there. That notwithstanding, if you aren't already, go and subscribe to Find What
That looks like a sideboard.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, the thing about train wrecks is before he passed away, he worked with Dr. Z, and they came out with I think Brad Paisley's amp is based on the.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's called the. I can't remember what it's called. It's basically Dr. Z's Brad Paisley amp, which is basically a train wreck, and it was worked on by the guy that made the train wrecks.
The originals. Fair play.
Yeah.
Last couple. He's a bit Marmite, his old chappers. However, I think this screen grab sums it up perfectly. I watched all of this nigh on 23 minutes. He nailed every one of these guitars.
Did he?
The difference. I think the only one that he missed was the East Coast S-Type, but the Jackson, the Ibanez, and the Squire, it was astonishing the amount of detail.
What did he do when you say nailed it? What he guessed what they were?
Yeah, as in there was a Pacifica, and he said, "This is Pacifica. This Jackson, this is a Jackson." The Ibanez. He was the clarity of his product knowledge is remarkable.
Was he able to Was he able to feel it up?
He wasn't allowed to touch the headstocks. He was able to tune. He was able to play, but that was as good as it got. It's like I say. I know some folks don't warm to the chap for whatever reason. As far as his product knowledge goes and his guitar ability as well, I think he's a cracking player.
Did you see the Andertons video that came out today, which is Rabea choosing his favorite drive?
Yeah, I was watching that while I was cooking tea tonight.
That's a good video.
Really,
good video.
Yeah, really good. That's worth a look as well. And then the last couple from me. This was a nice watch. We very rarely talk about acoustic things on the Studio Rats, but this is a nice little watch. And perhaps more specifically, Ben Smith guitar, A, is the wonderful player who plays in that video, and B, to join up the TP, the Studio Rats family, is also friends with Great Eastern Effects, David.
Oh, nice.
Ben lives around this neck of the woods, which is about 5 miles up the road from David. Wonderful player. Plays with a few guys that I used to play with decades ago. These days, they've done away with idiots like me, and they just play with good folks now. And yeah, go and subscribe to Ben. He's a really nice guy. Well worth a look. And that that's everything from me on the news front. There we go. I'll come back to this one. Good. Right. Should we dive back in? We're on the sprint finish now, aren't we? 29 minutes to get through it.
Scrunch says, "Evening guys, I have a Les Paul Studio with 490R and 498T pickups and an Epiphone SG61 with Gibson Burstbucker 2 and 3. Nice. Do you think swapping between the two guitars will get me happier with tone?" When you say, do you think swapping, do you mean swapping the pickups? Personally, I think the first thing you need to do is to get rid of those 490s and the 498. They're not. They're my least favorite Gibson pickups. Burstbuckers are great. If that's what you think they're doing, just think about if you want to put some. I'm guessing that's what he's asking. Is that what he's asking? Do you think about the pickups?
Looks like it. Yeah.
Or swapping or doing a gig with those two guitars. But if you're talking about swapping pickups, have a look at what's the name of that pickup manufacturer down in Cornwall?
Iron Gear?
Bare Knuckle, thank you. Bare Knuckle, yeah. Go and get some mules for the Les Paul Studio. I think you'll be happy with that. Or go and get Gibson. You can go and buy some. You can go and buy some Burstbuckers for that, or go and get some Sir Peakthorn. I think Sir Peakthorn are my favourite humbuckers because they've got so much clarity and they don't have that flub of the Gibson low mids. You'll love that. I hope that helps, and I hope I haven't.
What do you want the two guitars to do? Are you trying to amalgamate two guitars into one there, Scrunge?
Yeah.
Or are you just thinking, I've got the time, I've got the inclination, I've got the ability, I'm going to swap them out and see if A in B and B in A sounds better? Or are you just thinking, I want all of the good things from a Les Paul in my SG and vice versa in one axe rather than having two separate guitars that do different things?
And what's the problem? What are you not liking? I mean, if it's tone, surely you can just play around with a pedal or an EQ or a different amp or something, or is it sustain? Or is it too much output? Is it not enough output?
Those 490s to me, I can't. They're in every sort of 80s to 2000 studio. Just I think they're great guitars. If you change pickups in that, you'd love it. Jay Wright, really love the Burstbuckers. Can't go wrong with them. There we go. Bogeyman says, Paul, watched your older video of your blue LSL telly. Seemed like that one was passed on soon. Never saw it again. What was wrong about it that didn't make the cut? Contemplating buying an LSL telly. Yeah. Sorry, Greg. What did you say?
He's thinking of having one. Bogeyman is.
So, like Lee mentioned earlier about the lack of string tree.
Right.
It's got anything with those sort of staggered tuning pegs. For me, just get rid of the staggered tuning pegs and put a string tree in. Brilliant. That's the first thing. Really, I like low output pickups. Those LSL pickups are so low output. Personally, I don't. I think you'd probably want to change the pickups. I haven't. Yeah,
they're not cheap, are they?
No, they're not cheap at all. They're not cheap at all. I think you can get better for your money. If I'm honest,
Spend less on an American Pro 2 telly, according to the internet.
there was one that James and I we were in Guitar in Epsom, and they had a pink one, and it was feather light. It was absolute stunning. That's the only one that I think I've ever played and thought that's really, really good. Gold hardware as well.
John is sorry, not John. J Wright is saying no, it's a different J Wright. Whilst I'm talking, I will interject and say that we need to go to the expensive comment.
Oh, sorry, is there one? Sorry, I missed them. I missed it. Oh, Gaza. Cheers, Gaza. He said, listen to the three of you talk gear prices. Cheers, mate.
And that means that the £20 that I transferred to Gary has arrived in his account and he sent it back to us.
Where are we?
Back to Mr. McQuillan.
Go on. Can you find it? Can you click on it?
I can't, mate. I can't drive from this end, I'm afraid. I'll read it while you're looking. Dave of the Highland Plectrum Company. I do not have one to hand. It's a good evening, guys. Late tonight, just Dad Taxi. You would think the Dad Taxi would be over once they start work. I'm busier than ever. You're nearly there, Dad. Once they've been working long enough to get their own wheels, then you can get your feet up.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Well done, Dave. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, go and check out David's Plectrums, Highland Plectrum Company on Reverb. Awesome Plectrums. Thomas, he says, I think the only industry other than guitars where relic is a thing is art forgery.
Yeah, that's very astute. Well done. Yeah.
Is there nothing else that does relic-y things? Trainers? No trainers that...
Yeah, I was just about to say, somewhere in the clothing industry, there's,
There must be.
Aged leather jackets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
suppose some elements of furniture, but it's getting a bit tenuous, isn't it?
Yeah. Mark's gas station. Greetings, folks.
Hello.
Greetings, Mark.
Jeff.
Jeff. He said, good. He said, evening. All good to see Lee on the Romulan ale there. The Romulan ale. Any mid-price recommendations for in-ear vocalist systems? When you in-ear vocal, you mean in-ear monitoring systems?
Yeah, go and get the X. If you're not worried about stereo, the mono system that X5 do is very good. That's the one I use.
Sort of ballparks that, Lee.
Price wise, 180, I think.
Okay, as cheap as chips. I spent as much as
that.
I can grab it, actually. Years. I spent, more than that on just my ear molds, let alone the transmitters and all the rest of it.
So you wear that on your belt.
There we go.
And then you plug that into the desk or wherever you're taking your feed from.
Yeah. There we go.
Great. Yeah.
The only thing for me, I couldn't do it mono. That to me would drive me absolutely potty.
That's because you're a delicate flower, Paul.
It's true. Finer things in life he is. That Mr. Drew.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
It's true. No, I think we've got two ears. The thing is, we used to hearing things in stereo. That's the thing. If I want to stage, I'm used to hearing the separation of everything. The bass players, slightly that way. And
what side of the stage do you stand on at function gigs, Paul?
I don't give a monkeys. I'll normally left, I guess, because I'm right-handed.
So everything else goes through your left ear, then, right?
No, I hear what you're saying. But if the audience is getting separation, but you could mix it like that. If I wanted to, I could just go, well, yeah. I mean, I want everything over that way, but there's separation between different things.
I'm being more.
But no, I hear you. And yes, your facetious point was duly noted. Hold on, I've done it. There we go. Basil, he says, try both and see which one you think sounds better. What we're talking about here?
Could have been
the Les Paul SG.
Yeah, or the spring line in the custom shop.
Yes.
Yeah, could be that as well. Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Moxie's decided to turn up at last after an hour and 40 minutes. Hello, mate.
Yes.
Hope you're well. He said the triple threat are doing well. Watching in bed with Studio Rex pajamas. Look at that.
There you go. That's in bed with the Studio Rats. There's a new channel there.
There we are. Yeah. Maybe that's what James should call the other one.
In bed. Sounds like we might get more than sort of. What is the male to female ratio on the Studio Rats?
Yeah, we could appeal to the
0.48%, isn't it?
I think it's like 0.4% or something.
Right.
No, it's a bit more than that. I think it's about 2% now. It's going up.
Good.
Jago says, "Hi guys, do you have any tips on how to achieve a Woodstock H.E. Hendrix tone with the Mark II Katana Mark II? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Katana doesn't do that. Katana, you just got to be. I think a lot of people say, "Oh, can we get this tone or that tone out of the Katana?" And I think a Katana is a Katana. It sounds like a Katana, and it's fantastic. I don't think starting to to try and get it's not an Axe Effects is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
it hasn't got all those different amps in it that you can go, okay, well, I want a Plexi or I want an old JTM 45 sort of tone or that. It doesn't do that sort of thing.
But that's the thing. It's going to emulate different amps better than it's going to emulate guitarists, surely. I mean, the whole, as we've discussed before, the whole point about Jimi Hendrix's tone is because it was being played by Jimi Hendrix. So you could get an amp sound that was similar to what Hendrix was using, I guess, out of the Katana.
Yeah.
A lightly driven Marshall or something, I suppose, strapped with a a fairly high output neck pickup. You're pretty close to Hendrix's sound, but you're never going to sound like Hendrix.
I think you've got a really good point there, and yes, and maybe if you go, okay, well, he used an amp, and he used a wah-wah pedal, and he used a Univibe, and he used a fuzz pedal. So yeah, with all of those things, I guess you could.
I'm having messed around with the Katana a reasonable amount now. I think the challenge there, Diego, is going to be that the fuzz sound on its own in the Katana isn't fuzz as I think of it traditionally. We've just looked at the Reeves Electro site. That is fuzz in its purest form. Just wonderful things. Katana won't do that. I think you'd have to be quite cute about dialing in the fuzz against an amp tone. Oh, Lee's vanished.
He's back.
I'm going to try and keep this brief because Lee's just voted with his feet with me listening to me waffle on.
I didn't do a thing.
I think you're going to need to work out what are you going to do to your amp elsewhere other than the fuzz model in order to create more of a fuzzy tone than the fuzz model on its own will achieve. So it's not a very well articulated point, but I think you get the general idea.
And I did a video how to get Hendrix style tone on the Katana, and loads of people commented back saying nothing like Hendrix.
There you go.
So there you go.
Pet's come back.
Pet, he said, sorry lads, just tired.
That's all right, mate. All you've done there, buddy, is charge yourself an extra $4.99 for the $34.99 that you paid for the pajamas.
Cheers, Pet. Thanks, mate. Okay, let's steam through these. Martin says, just found out Machine Head was recorded with AC30. Wow. What is the best Blackmore with AC30? No wonder. I have trouble getting that sound with Marshall amp. Just. There we go. Nice.
Yeah.
David, got a side telly, front pickup died. So swap for some Seymour now. It's great for the money. Awesome.
Hello, Ned.
Ned. Hello, missed you last week. I watched it afterwards. I hope you're all doing well. Reject guitars. Do you Chaos? Yeah, maybe. Have any experience with the JT350 telly series, the ones with locking tuners?
I don't. No, I don't. Not with the telly ones, but they are cheap as anything. I should pick one up really, but Yeah, and they come with. It's really strange. So they give you locking tuners on that one, but they don't give you locking tuners on the 400 series, which has got a trem.
That's strange.
Go figure.
Sounds like Ned and David need to have a chat themselves amongst in the comments, because Dave's got what Ned's talking about. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Jeff says, really noisy P90s. I have a pair of Franlin hum cancelling P90s in the Strat, and they're wonderful. There we go. Try the Seymour Duncan Antiquity P90s. They're pretty quiet. I've got them in my P90 Strat. Definitely not quiet, but they're I still get noise out of them. But yeah, they're great. Travis in the house. He says, hello from South Carolina.
So that's South and North we've got in now. Excellent.
Look at that. Cheers, Travis.
We should do a studio map, shouldn't we? And just put it's the world.
Scent of a Wheelchair Pillow says, looking at getting an SM57. Why are some twice as much as others? Cardioid. What's the difference? A cardioid SM. An SM57 to 57.
The Scent of a Wheelchair Pillow. I'm going to send a message to Jivey. If anybody knows microphones, it's James. Let's wait until he's back, and he will answer your question next week.
There we go.
SM57 is really nasally, though. I don't tend to like it too much.
Yeah, it's all mid-range, without a doubt. Without a doubt. David says, Paul, someday you'll come out the metal closet. You're the best dead guitar player since 1977. Maybe. Finger blasting for dummies. What's the best DI box for home studio?
You don't need one.
You don't need one.
The Scent of a Wheelchair Pillow changed his name.
To what? What, to finger blasting for dummies? There
was a video that it was either Pete Thorne or Glenn, the shouty guy from Canada, did, where they compared the performance of a DI box with the instrument input on an interface, and there was no difference. You don't need one. If you've got an instrument input on your interface, you don't need one.
Yeah, DI boxes are mainly for running long cable runs over stages and that sort of stuff, which are really handy. Yeah. But if you do want a great DI box, Walrus Audio do their Canvas range really good, and you get mono or stereo. Palmer, yeah. Gaza, he says, hi Lee, also found the size to be hit and miss. I've been happy with my L7, but was very disappointed with the S7, so I've sent it back. H7B weight is, excuse me, it's 8+ pounds, but never gig, just sit. It's quite heavy, isn't it? But that's, yeah. Thanks. I wonder if Lee Anderton's lawyers are going to be in touch with me. And yes, the studio reps are definitely name checked in chapter 14. There we go. Looking forward to getting to that bit. I might be able to finish it tonight, mate, once I go to bed, because I read in bed. So I love doing that. Hey, what's up, G? Says Bush 18.
Am I the G? Yep. I don't know. Hello, Bush. I hope you're well.
We're all G's. Mark's gas station. That's a lot of OD. There we go.
Is that the pedal board? Yes.
Yeah. Senator Wheelchair says also, what would be a good mic to consider supplementing the 57 with? Maybe a second one in the back. New to this home recording one. I think if you can afford a 121, absolutely. I think they sound absolutely fantastic.
Sennheiser 421, maybe.
Yeah, I way prefer a 41 to a 57.
Yeah, School of John Petrucci, that is.
There we go. Yeah, 121s are great. Royal 121s, but they're really expensive.
You can get some copy ones though that are quite cheap.
Yeah.
Toman did one from their own range that was supposed to be really good, actually. It was only about 130 quid or something.
Wow.
I would point you sent to Mr. Josh Smith when he opened his own studio, which is in part of his house. He did a video that said, this is how I record all of my amps. And he puts the same mics in the same places on all different amps. I can't remember which ones they were, but if it's good enough for Josh Smith.
Does he know?
Who?
Josh Smith. Never heard
So
of
good. Such a great player. Funky Bass, quite like that recycled bench of a telly bass. And she mentioned the price is shocking. Absolutely. Reborn Cork Sniffers would be appalled at the Vibe 1968 around 800 US AU, sorry, dollars is sharing a board with a Behringer. Might have to move on. No joke. And UC 200 Boss Super Chorus, $40 each. Nice, God, that's cheap, isn't it? Nice. No, don't worry about that, mate. If it sounds good,
I know that we're running out of time, but I think it's probably worth saying with regard to Jeff's Tube Screamer. Oh, hang on, 69 quid, man alive!
Damn.
Oh yeah. The Behringer Tube Screamer clone. If you look up Josh Scott's "What's the Deal with Behringer," which has had about 1 billion views on YouTube, you'll see the logic. Anyway, carry on. Oh, money's just arrived.
Oh, nice. New Ron Seal custom gold shop does what it says on the gold tin. Lovely, lovely. Cheers, Travis. He said, guys, I've decided I'm going to go with a Les Paul standard 50s with whisker buckers. Get the whisker buckers. Going to save for a custom shop at a later time. Nice one, mate. Just before you do that, if you're going to get whisker buckers, have a look at some of the cream tea stuff. Because if you like that sort of Billy Gibbons tone, cream tea, Billy Gibbons designed a guitar with cream tea with whisker buckers in it. And they even do ones with the removable relish guitar system. Well, they're really good, and they're cheaper than Les Paul and arguably better, I would say. Where are we?
While you're finding your way back, it's Neil next. I like a wee drum fuzz on my jazz tone, so it sounds a little reedy, like a sax. Hand pink waving.
I think it does that with emojis for some reason.
Oh, I see.
Nice one. Steve says, I've got a Harley Benton Fusion 2 after a pickup upgrade. Very hard to beat.
Nice.
Tried and reviewed the Harley Benton 25th single cut. Great guitar, but wasn't for me.
Hang on. Steve Cassidy guitar. Come on.
Rectum Fryer. What are we getting into now? Jeez.
I think it's probably referring to my ability to discern the difference between different companies doing Messabugi.
Yeah, Rectum Fryer. Yeah,
yeah, Rectum Fryer, very good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's very good. That's good, actually. Yeah, nice one, Pez. John says Ben Smith is an incredible player. That Anderson's vid is amazing. Ben Smith, yeah, nice.
I've just subscribed Steve Cassidy guitar.
There we go.
Yeah, we need to start a folk trio or something, don't we?
Yeah,
more acoustic guitars.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody's unaware, Spinal Tap, awesome, wonderful. There is another film called A Mighty Wind, which is the same people doing the same stuff, just with folk tunes, and the music is wonderful, as you would expect. Well worth the
watch. If you get something out of this, give us a like, because it really, 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 really helps. If you don't worry about it. Shouldn't be watching it if you're not enjoying this. Why are you watching it?
I'll just do it next week when Jarvy's back, and Lee and I can, go back to messing around with budget gear.
Bioterror says, yes, we need more acoustic guitars on the studio rats. There we go. Mendel, he says, Scrunch, some 4090 and 498 Ts loaded Les Paul Studios also come with pots wiring on a PCB. So you can think of swapping that for some real wiring quality pots too. There we go.
Interesting.
490s I wasn't rid of and thinking of swapping Epi's burst buckets. There we go. So good shout, I would say. Paul McKinnon, he says, even gents, I really think the three-way format works better for the QA. And thanks for the amp advice last week. I'm getting the Boss 100, but we'll have to do a few more shifts in the kitchen first, it seems. Oh, nice. No, it's good. I enjoy the three, actually. Funky Bass, distressed jeans or distressed leather sofas? Closest thing I can think of to electric guitars. True.
Yeah.
The Soap Forge. What would be a minimum setup for someone who wants to start recording stuff at home in an apartment? I have an AC15, C1, and pedals and a computer. In an apartment, you need to get rid of the AC15. It's true. You can't.
Yeah.
Or get an attenuator.
Or get an attenuator. Get something where you can, like an aux box or something. If you really love that AC15, Get an aux box, plug it straight into the aux box, and then you don't have to have your speakers on at all. You can need some monitors. You don't necessarily have to have them. You can use headphones if you so wish. Also with the attenuator, if you get something like an aux box, you don't need microphones because it will just record straight into your interface. You need an interface. So if you've got a computer, get an interface, get a pair of monitors, get an attenuator, an aux box if you can, and you'll be having a lovely time. But
interface wise, get a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 or something. I've got one of those.
Yeah,
it's fair shout. Yeah. If you're in need of one, the Soap Forge, I've got one to sell that'll go for a song because you're a friend of the Studio Rats.
There we go. To get in contact with Greg at go on, give your channel a shout out. Come
on. Adventures in Gearland. There
we go. Go and subscribe to Greg's channel, everybody, as well. Sorry, we did say thanks, Pet. NYC, I've got an early 2000s custom 22 I'd love to play, but I'm not bonding with the Dragon 2 pickups. I'd say thing. What should I change to retain the versatility?
That was an early home computer, wasn't it? The Dragon 2.
Dragon pickups tend to be quite dark sounding pickups. They're great for live. It's surprising how much a PRS comes to life. Once it's cranked. If I was you, I would go and have a look at the Surbuckers, what they're called, Thornbuckers. Thornbuckers. Lee loves them as well. They're great, really, really good. And yeah, to me, the best humbuckers you can get.
I'm gonna get hold of another one actually and put it in. You know that multicolored that I bought off. Puffin Billy. I'm going to put one in that, I think.
Right, that's a good idea, mate. That sounds great. Philip, he says, from Croatia, nice one. Any tips on how to make my Sir Classic Antique nice? Sound more like a vintage Strat. I do not know.
V60 LP pickups. LP as in Les Paul?
Possibly.
I don't know. No.
The V already stands for vintage, doesn't it? Vintage 60 Les Paul pickups.
Why do we want a Les Paul? Assuming that your picture is the guitar that you're talking about, Philip, why do you want it to sound like a Strat?
That's definitely a Les Paul.
Yeah.
So what?
And he's got it's a vintage Strat, and it's a classic antique. That's a nice guitar as well. I'd like that guitar. I think if you're looking at a different guitar. Sir guitars are more modern. They are more modern. I don't know those pickups. I've never tried them. But a Sir is a much more modern sounding playing guitar than a Strat. So possibly you might want to be thinking about a custom shop. So Sir, you're going to get some good money for that and go and buy a custom shop. I think that's what. If you're not happy with it, you're never going to be happy with it.
Sir V60 low peak single coil pickup set. If it's already
so there's single coils already then. So you're off with it already.
More like a vintage. I'm not sure that's the issue.
Maybe it's what he's playing it through that's the issue.
Possibly.
Could be.
Other than the guitar. The guitar sounds like it's almost there as it is.
I mean, they're great guitars. All those Sir classics, they're really good guitars. You're not going to get better than that. But if you want something that's a bit more vintage, I think you're going to have to sell it. I think it's a classic thing. If you're not happy with the guitar, you're never going to be happy with that guitar. Sorry, mate, but I'd love that guitar. That's a great guitar. Ned says the Jet 350 Telly and Butterscotch Blonde doesn't come with locking tuners, but the other two do. Insont, thanks for the reply. Non-chaotic chaps.
Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Never mind. What on Jet?
I don't understand it.
You and us both.
Soapforge, after your live chat, I wasn't crazy for not liking the sound of my Fender Ultra Strat, and I returned. Oh no, I hope I didn't put you off. I picked up American Pro 2 Telecaster and couldn't be happier.
There you are.
What you want.
Well batted, Soapforge. Well batted.
Good shout, mate. Good shout. Al says, there we go.
Yeah, a bit more open sounding than a 57.
And you can hang it over. You can hang it.
You can
over over your.
Just make sure you hang it
hand.
around the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. I was one of the billion who watched Josh Scott's beverage video. He does a good video.
By extension, then, Jeff, are you also thinking of putting a switcher into the equation? Because the one thing that's going to let you down on that Behringer is actually.
Yeah, I think once you've got that many pedals as well, I think you'll notice the difference of the signal chain putting a switcher in. You know, just go and get a Boss. You're going to need an
EX. What is it? EC5, EC8. You probably need that size board.
ES8. There's ES8 on. I've got both. I've got an ES8 and an ES5 as well, and they both sound great, and they do make your pedals sound better because you're not losing any crap. That's technical term, by the way.
We didn't do Shep.
Oh, we didn't do Shep. Oh, sorry. It was rumored that Mr. Blackmore had an AC30 hidden inside a Marshall cab. Look at that.
I've heard that very same tale, Shep.
I've never read that. It's brilliant. Jago says, first of all, thank you for your response, guys. I'm sorry I did not articulate my question well. What I want to know is in the ballpark of a plexi on the katana, and I put a fuzz face 4 in the
for the public one.
It's not a plexi. I mean, honestly, just use the clean channel. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. There's nothing.
I wonder if the only way that you would be able to get into the, I don't know where Diego's based, so I want to say postcode, but maybe zip code would be a better frame of reference, would be to, as Paul says, use the clean channel because it's the best, as far as Paul and I are concerned, it's the best platform within the katana. But then do you need to go really into the weeds using the parametric EQ in order to get that bit closer?
It's a 1 by 12 amp, first of all. So it's not going to sound like that. It's not going to sound like that. You're not going to get it. And also, I would say you want to use the clean channel, but then you want to use the clean channel and put like some pedals, inside the chain, because to me, it's the clean channel on the katana is that's the sound. That's a great sound. And then you put in pedals going into that inside the katana. All the pedal emulations. That's what makes the pedal sound good. Sorry.
Good luck, Diego.
But what can I say? Get a pedal. Oh, okay. Clean channel. Use the pedals inside the katana and get a fuzz. Get a proper fuzz. Go in the front end.
Yeah, you can get a. I mean, is it Dunlop that do the fuzz faces? These days?
Yeah, get a fuzz face.
Just get a fuzz face mini. They're about £100. I'm guessing they're $100 in the States because they don't have to go across the water, do they? Good luck.
David said, which of you has bought the Seymour Duncan Bluetooth 5-way switch? Not me. Not interested in that.
I'm sure it's delightful. Haven't been interested.
Yeah. Steve says, cheers for the sub, mate. There we go.
I'm looking forward to watching tomorrow, Steve.
Good times always. Lee, next week, wear the white shirt too.
Yeah.
Soapforge Tonex pedal gives you the software and also
Paul,
interface. Yes.
You've got a Tonex to give away.
A Tonex. We'll do it next week.
Okay. Yeah.
No, we got a Tonex code, not a Tonex pedal. Don't get people confused.
Yeah, but all the same. Right. Next week, tune in. You might be the lucky winner of a Tonex. What is it?
The full Monty, the whole software Monty.
Yeah,
the whole bedinglang.
Answer a question which I already have ready to go, but I'm not going to tell you now because you'll cheat and use the Google to get you the answer.
There we go.
Next week, I will comment.
There we go. Soapforge Tonex pedal gives you the software and also an interface. Maybe a suggestion. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Funky Bass, Lee's glasses on Greg's face. Harley Bent and Paul Drew. Good night. Lee's glasses on Greg's face. Harley Bent and Paul Drew.
Do you know what? I'm going to appear next week briefly because Jarvy's going to be back next week, ladies and gents. I'm going to appear briefly wearing my beloved wife's glasses, which are not dissimilar to Lee's. I'll do that briefly and we'll go from there.
Back after months. Good to catch. Cheers, Neil.
Nice to see you.
Stephen, the bed rats. There we go. Oh, look at that
Yes.
cat.
It's 2 weeks on the bounce we've been going on.
Thinking about an ES8 or a gig with G3, both great. Yes, you can't go wrong with either, to be honest. Al, cheers, guys. Have a great week. Catch you next week. And to you, Al. And last of all, David, did I win? I mean, the train wreck pedal. Actually, 2 more. Come, let's do it. Join love. I remember you like running, Paul. I don't like running. I just run. That's probably.
Yeah, there is.
Do you ever pull your calf muscles when running? No, I don't actually. I've never pulled my calf muscle. It's started to happen to me recently. Even when I warm up and take it slow. Oh gosh, I'm similar. I'm a similar age, mid-30s.
You wear compression socks, Johnny Love. That's what you need. Apparently, my wife wears them all the time.
Oh yeah. Lee's missus is a proper marathon, like multiple marathon, like everyday runner. She's super fit.
Yeah,
there
she
we go.
5 marathons in 5 days the other week. So yeah,
great. Lunacy.
Yeah,
lunacy.
Yeah, my
compression socks is what you need.
I've got to be honest. I'm not very good at resting as well. If I do pull something, I just run on it, and it tends to work itself out. I'm sure I'll suffer later on in life. 2 more. Mendel, cheers, been good. Going to play some chug. Nice. Okay, cheers, guys.
Cheers,
thanks
Louis.
again to Lee and Greg from Adventures in Gearland for joining us this week.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure as
Yeah,
always.
see you
tomorrow, Mr. Drew.
Yes, good to see you, mate. Yeah.
I'll see you
Lee's
tomorrow.
coming over. He's bringing his things over tomorrow, which would be nice. So, yes, have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
And we should look forward to seeing Mr. Ivy back as well.
There we go. Take care, guys.
Good night, everybody.